everyone. My name is Gabrielle Davis. Well, Gabrielle Gourlay now, sorry. I just had my name changed, so I'm still getting used to it. Welcome to our presentation today. I am from Engagedly. I'm a solutions consultant here. I work with a lot of our clients through onboarding and ongoing training. I'm also joined by my coworker, Pooja. She is in the chat. As we're going through, if you have any questions, please feel free to throw them in there and she'll be monitoring that. And we will also be pausing throughout to take questions. We really appreciate you all being here today. What we're going to be doing is taking you through Goals 2.0, which is our updated version of our Goals module. There are a couple of look and feel changes, but a lot of the features that you're familiar with if you had our previous goals module are going to be the same. Today we're going to be talking about some of those big changes, and then we'll be doing a demo of the platform itself. And again, I just want to reiterate, if you do have questions, please feel free to throw them in the chat. And when we do stop, I'll go ahead and let you unmute if you'd like, or you can always just put those questions in the chat then as well. And with that, we'll go ahead and get started here. Let me go over here. Some of the big pieces that we're going to be talking about are these four main additions here. So as I mentioned before, the goals module is largely the same in that what you're used to doing is still going to look a lot like it did before. You're still going to put all of those basic things in, but we have added some additional features that make the experience a lot more seamless and also empower the user to have additional outside supports. So one of the first main new pieces is going to be integrations. And this is internal integrations, so within the platform itself, and external integrations. So we'll start with the external ones. What this is going to look like is integrations with Jira, Google Sheets, as well as an SFTP integration. So if there are outside systems that you currently use for goal tracking, you may be able to integrate that within Engagedly so that the information can flow in between them. As far as internal integrations, we have made it so that you can now utilize other modules in tandem with goals. So if you utilize the feedback module, for example, we're now able to request and share feedback directly from that goal. So it will attach the goal to it. That way you and the other individual know exactly what it is that you're referring to when you're giving or receiving feedback about it. Additionally, praise, which is part of the feedback module, is also part of it. So if you want to praise a member based on their goal completion rate or how quickly they're moving toward it, you can also do that. And then there is also a meetings integration. So if you're utilizing our meetings module, then you are able to bring a goal directly into that meeting so that once again, you can discuss that goal and it is attached right there. So more and more what we're trying to do as an organization is to bring more of our modules together. That way it's more seamless and communication is a lot more clear. The second big new piece is going to be Marissa. You'll see her down in the lower left-hand corner. Marissa is our AI assistant, and she has been brought into Goals 2.0. So where before Goals was really just on the individual to figure out what it was that they wanted to track and to type it into the system, now Marissa is there to provide a helping hand. She can change the verbiage of the goal that you've entered and then also recommend key results based on that goal that you're trying to achieve. And we'll take a look at her in just a moment when we get into the demo. The third big update is templates. And these can stem from either the Engagedly template library or the organization can create templates if they would like. And this makes it so that goals, once again, can be a little bit more streamlined. And if you have a certain goal that maybe everybody in a specific department uses, rather than having to go in and create that goal over and over and over, we can create it as a template, and then users are able to grab that template and bring it in and just update the metrics that they're tracking. So, a lot of these changes that we've covered so far are really just to increase ease of use and to make goals more accessible to people across all different levels and exposure to goals. The last big update here is discussions. And in the old goals module, we had a place where you could provide comments based on your updates and you could, ask questions to your manager there. But it was really just between you and your manager and maybe skip level manager if they wanted to come down and take a look. We've now expanded this. So you can now use the at key and type in the name of somebody else in the organization. That will give them visibility into the goal and also prompt them to come into the discussion thread. So this is something that I've seen clients use for bringing in mentors or secondary managers or maybe teammates who are working toward a similar goal or are on the same project. You can now have that entire discussion tracked within the goal, so it's really easy to reference later. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and switch us over to the demo side, and we will take a look at that. Let me just make sure. Yep, we are on that screen. Perfect. So we are looking at the homepage of Engagedly, and I am playing the role of Miss Marissa, our AI assistant over here. Now, what I'm going to do first is just show you that here on the home page, this goals widget is pretty much the same. So if you've used goals before, you know that we can hover here and click update, and we can update our metrics very easily here on the home page. If, however, we want to take a look at the goals module, we'll click here, and you'll notice that it does look a bit different. So one of the big changes visually here is before you were probably used to just seeing all of the goals as a single line. And if they had any key results below, you had to click into the goal in order to see what those key results are. Now what we've done is we've made it so that within the menu, you're able to see any key results or any goals that are cascaded down from this goal below it. You'll see if I go to assigned by me, I'll also be able to see the various goals here. And if those key results were there, I'd be able to see that as well. Otherwise, it operates the way that it did before. We have our progress here. We can also still manage columns here in the top right to decide what it is that we want to see about these goals. And we can still export. Now, we do also have this new view called Goals Directory, and the visibility within this directory is managed based on your goals settings. So depending on what settings you have available, it's going to determine what people can see here. So they may be able to see each of their teammates here like I can, or excuse me, they will be able to see their teammates here, but then the goals that they are able to see within there is going to depend on those goal settings. And we'll look at visibility in just a little bit when we're looking at creating the goal. Moving over here to top level goals, this hasn't changed other than you'll see that there are these two new labels. So org is going to refer to only goals that are at the organizational level. So these are your topmost goals. And then below that, there is top, which is for your top level goals. And this is going to be both departmental and business unit goals. And you'll see when I hover, it lets me know which department that goal is for. So top is business unit and department. Org is going to be that org level goal. Now let me go back here to my goals. And we're going to go ahead and take a look at the goal creation screen. So adding a goal is the same as it was before. you'll see that we have this Add Goal button, and when we click, we're going to get this pop-up. Now, this visually is quite different from how it was before. In case you don't remember, there used to be just a very simple pop-up that would come up, and it was all contained within that one window. A lot of the elements are the same, it just looks a little bit different at first. Before we start creating a goal, I do just want to show you a couple of other ways to access this screen. My preferred method is always to use this Quick Actions button in the top left. The reason I like this button is because it allows me to do a number of actions across Engagedly, and it's available on every page. So even if I am within the learning module, for example, and there's a goal that I want to include, I can still go to this plus sign and select Add Goal, and I'm going to be right in, oh, did I do a wrong button there? Here we go. There we go. And we will be right into that same pop-up. So there are a number of ways to access it, but that plus sign is always going to be the easiest way there. So as I mentioned before, there are a lot of the features are still the same, but there are a couple of new ones that we mentioned that I want us to take a look at. So the Suggest Goals drop down here is brand new in Goals 2.0. And when we click it, we're going to have a couple of options here. The first one is Use a Template. And these are those templates that I mentioned before. And we'll see that we have two libraries. The org library, this is going to be those templates that you as the administrative team in partnership with leadership and your managers can go ahead and determine what are those goal templates that you want to have available to the entire organization, and we can put those in here for people to use. Until then, you do also have the Engagedly library that users can pull from. So in this case, I could search for a key term. Maybe I am looking for HR, and then it's going to pull in a number of goals that I can utilize. When I click the drop down beside them, it's going to show me the key results that are just below those goals, as well as how they're being tracked. So I can go through and see if there's anything that I think is going to meet my needs. And then if I find one that I like, I can go ahead and click Add. Sarah, I see your question in the chat. Can we create these templates ourselves, or does Engagedly need to do that? So you have the ability to do it, and I'll show you when we get into the settings how to do it, but it's pretty simple. So I did click Add, and you'll see that that information did come right over. So I have the main goal here, and then each of those key results here. And if you're ever not sure of what you're looking at here on the right-hand side, you can see that it does highlight the section in a blue box, but also we have indicated goals with this like reddish orange color and key results with this purpley blue color, depending on what your monitor settings are. And you'll notice that this left-hand side really operates more as like a table of contents or bookmarks. And the right-hand side is where you're going to be doing all of the action. So left for navigation between goals and key results, and the right to go ahead and edit that information over here. If you are using a template, everything will plug in for you, so we don't really have to go in and make any big changes here, other than if the measurement type has a specific metric, like maybe we're tracking a quantity. So within Z months here, we're going to say within 10 months. I could track that specifically if that was something that I wanted to track within here. I could do the number of months that it took me to get there. Otherwise, if everything is going to be measured in percentage or milestone, there are no changes that need to be made. And then we could go ahead and click Publish. Before I click Publish, I do want to highlight another enhancement here. And to do that, I'm actually going to just click out without clicking Publish. And you'll see that we have this new drafts tab. So I'm in the goals module and there's this drafts section. And this is going to show me any of those goals that I started but didn't publish yet. So we don't have to worry about losing goals anymore if somebody accidentally clicks out. It's going to be saved right in here. And this is also a way that I've had some clients have their individual contributors come up with the beginnings of their goals and then work with their managers prior to publishing them. So a number of them will have individuals go in and put in their 3 goals that they want to work toward. And then after they sit down with their manager and they agree upon the goal, they'll click into the goal and click publish. And they're using that as a method of saying, like, yes, a discussion was had, and now this makes this goal official. And once it's published, it can still be edited and things can still be changed, but now it will show up on the main homepage and under their goals for them to update. Let me go back into our add goal screen because I do want to show you some of the other new features there. We looked at templates and now we're going to look at Miss Marissa. So when we use Ask Marissa, if you have already typed a goal in here or the beginning of a goal, so maybe I want to enhance communication skills. If I ask Marissa, she will go ahead and take that prompt and then she will suggest a different goal title and some key results to go along with it. If you don't have something in there already, then she'll prompt you to go ahead and enter it here. And again, you'll just put in a general idea of what it is that you're trying to work toward, and then we'll click Generate. Based on this, we can either say, I don't like any of this, and regenerate from the very beginning. And then we can say, yep, add all of it. Or I can say, well, I like these, but I don't like this one. So I'm going to keep these 2 key results and this suggested goal title. And when I click Add, it's going to plug those in for me. And just like with the template, the only changes you'll need to make are to come in and adjust that measurement type. But otherwise, the goal is good to go, and you could click Publish. So how is this used within the workplace? There are a couple of ways that I've seen clients use this, and the way that I see used the most is as the step 1 of goal setting. Particularly for people who are not as familiar with goal setting, this is a really great way to have a jumping off point to see, well, what does a goal look like? What is the formatting that I'm looking for? And then what are those ways in which I can adjust it to better suit my organization? And this can come from either the individual or more than likely it's going to come from the manager sitting down with that individual and making some tweaks here and there. I will go ahead and click Publish here. And then we're going to create one more goal, but this time we're going to do it without templates or any of the use of Marissa, just so we can go through each of the sections line by line. So one more time, I'm going to go to my plus sign and click Add Goal. So coming over here to the right, I'm now just going to be creating the goal from scratch. So here we can use something that we used before, or we'll say we want to, let's do complete the SHRM certification before the end of 2025. So this is my main objective here that I'm tracking. I have a notes function, so if there are any additional details that I want to provide or any context for why this is important to me, I can put those in here, but this section is optional. Below that, you're going to see this assigned to field. Now this defaults to you automatically because the system assumes that most of the time you're going to be setting goals for yourself. However, if you are playing the role of a manager and you would like to set a goal for one of your direct reports or somebody else in the organization, you'll be able to click this drop down and then change the goal owner. So, one big difference here, especially if you're coming from the old system, is you'll notice that I'm only able to select one person at a time. So right now, the system can only assign goals to one individual at a time. However, right now in development, we are bringing that feature back. So right now, you can only assign it to one, but soon you will be able to do multiple assignments again. But it is important for you to go ahead and make sure that whoever this goal belongs to, you want their name to be here next to assigned to. Yes, the recording will be sent out, and we have tons of resources about this. So you'll be able to rewatch this as much as you'd like, as well as use some of the arcade resources that we have that walk you through step by step. All right, so it's assigned to me. Here's what I'm working toward. And now we have goal type. This is similar to how it was in the old one, in that if you do not have administrative access, this doesn't even appear for you. So if you are just an individual contributor, you don't have the option to create goals at the organizational department or business unit level. They will just be able to create those individual goals, so they don't have to worry about this too much. Below that, we have the goal period. Here you can set goal periods that you want to have appear here as the dropdown. If you have one, the good thing is it will go ahead and plug in those dates automatically based on that goal period that's available. If you don't, what users will see instead is this custom field, and they'll just need to go ahead and plug in those dates manually for when they are going to be tracking that goal. I would say it saves everybody a lot of time to use the goal period, and we'll take a look at that in a little bit and how you can set that up. Coming up to measurement type, this is another change. Before, when it came to tracking goals, you only had percentage and quantity. So you could track how far along you are in the process. So if your goal was to read a book and you're about halfway through, you're going to say that you're 50% of the way through the book. The next one that we did have before was quantity. And this is when we're tracking those very specific metrics. So I'm trying to make $1 million. I've made 250,000. I'm a quarter of the way there. The new one that we've added that you can use on goals now instead of just on key results is milestone. And milestone operates as a binary. So milestone is going to be just for like, yes, it's done, or no, it's not. So it basically operates like a checkbox that once that goal is complete, you check it and it gets marked up to 100%. Just like in the first goals, you're going to want to go ahead and leave it on percentage if you are utilizing any key results. The reason for this is when you're tracking a variety of different metrics in the key results, you can still generate a percentage of completion as the main goal. So I could be tracking 250,000 out of $1 million, 10 pages read, and whether or not I submitted a proposal as a milestone. And the system will be able to generate a percentage based on those other metrics that you're tracking over there. But if we had this specifically on a dollar amount here, but in my key results, I'm tracking pages read or I'm tracking a milestone, the system doesn't know how to turn pages read into dollars made. So you just want to make sure that you don't have any like discrepancies between those. And when in doubt, just leave the main goal on percentage and you can adjust the others to any of the different metrics that you want. Because I'm going to be using key results here for my SHRM certification, I'm going to go ahead and leave this one on percentage. Moving down, you'll see this is another addition. So visibility, this is something that we can change within the goals settings, but we are also able to give the permission out to users. So before you kind of said either the department can see it or they can't, or everyone can see it or they can't. Now we can give the ability to users to say, my managers and above can always see my goal, but I also want my department to be able to see my goal. Or I want these departments to see my goal. What this does is it just extends visibility. It doesn't do any notifications or anything, but it allows a little bit more flexibility with who can see which goals. And you can also set it to where the default is, my managers and my department, but they could go in and take out the department if they didn't want that visibility to be there. But it's really up to how you configure it. You can also just leave this as is, and managers and above can just see the goal. Aligning is still here. So when we go in, you can do this now while you're creating the goal. You can also do it after. So maybe if if the top level goals are not yet created and you have individuals creating their goals, you can go ahead and have them publish it and then do the alignment later. Or if they are ready to go, as they're creating the goal, they can come in and search for the goal that they want to align it to, and then that will connect the goals in the system. We can still add attachments. So some ways that I've seen this used is if we're trying to get a grant, let's say, maybe we put in the grant proposal here, or we put in a certificate that we've earned, or any of those sorts of things. We can go ahead and attach those here. And then we still decide how often we want to be notified. Best practice that we've seen is every 15 days, because this means that you're going in at least twice a month and checking in on your goals. But it's really up to you and how you all manage your goal cycles. And then down here at the bottom, we do have this discussion thread. You don't have to use that at this point, but this does allow you to bring in other users if you want to bring them in as followers, or you want to have their insight into the goal that you're creating. Now we could go ahead and publish this goal right now and just track it as a goal here with the percentage complete. But over here on the left, you'll see that I can also add in key results. So I can go here to my key result and I can say that I want to complete my SHRM certification course. Whoops. Say before the end of July. It is assigned to me. However, if this were a team goal, I could assign this key result to a team member of mine. So maybe Albert is responsible for part A of the goal, and I'm responsible for parts B and C. You're now able to differentiate who's responsible for which key results. This is what is currently in place instead of cascading, but as Pooja mentioned, we are bringing the cascading feature back. So currently the cascade as you knew it before isn't available, but it will be back. So right now, in the meantime, you can go ahead and use this functionality as well. Otherwise, if it is just your personal goal, you're just going to skip right past that. We do have the goal period. It's going to default here to the period that I had set before. But in this case, I'm going to go ahead and actually bring that back to the end of July. This is also a new feature. Before, key results had to just match the top goal, and it made it so that everything was due at the very end. Now we're able to differentiate when key results are due. That way you can really chunk out the specific parts of your goal to make it seem more achievable over time. So we have this from January to July. And in this case, my measurement type, I'm going to go ahead and track course sections which didn't exist before. So I'm going to create my own custom unit type. And then I'm going to say that my starting value is 0 because I haven't completed any of them yet. And maybe there are 10 course sections in total. So as I complete the course sections, I'm going to be tracking those updates. I'm going to add in another key result here to say that I need to, earn, I don't even know what this number is right now. We'll say we'll earn 50 hours of credit toward our certification. And we can do the same thing in here and track specifically hours if we want. Oops. Our starting value is 0 and our target value is 50. And then we'll do just one more, which is to pass the SHRM certification test. And for this one, I'm going to go ahead and make that a milestone because there isn't really anything that I need to track over time. This is much more just, yes, I did it. I passed it. And at this point, we can go ahead and click publish. And we're going to see it pop up here. But also, if I go to my home page, it's going to be right here in my goals widget. Now, when it comes to training your users to update their goals, I always bring them back to this home page because for the majority of them, they're going to log in and want to stay right here to do any of those daily things that they need to do. So pending actions and then coming down here to look at your goals. It is going to default to your 3 most recent, but you can click view more and it will show up here on the right hand side and you still have the functionality to hover and click update. Now when we click update, again, the look and feel is a little bit different, but it operates pretty much the same. So as I scroll down, I'm going to see each of the key results that I have here, and I'm going to be prompted to update those key results. So you have a couple of options here. For both percentage and unit type, you can either just update the total and it will change the incremental number here, or you can just bump it up by that percentage, or excuse me, by that increment, and it will update the total for you. So here we'll say that we have completed 6 of the 10 course sections. Out of the 50 hours, maybe we've earned 15. And we have not passed the certification test yet. So I'm going to leave that as is. And then I can put in an overall comment if I'd like, looking to complete the rest of my hours in June, and then whatever that comment is going to be. And then I can click save. That is going to update my goal progress right here to 30%. And if I open up that goal, I'm going to be able to see where my progress is. And here in the discussion thread, we'll be able to see that comment here. So when you have people tracking their goals in the system, I also recommend having them go ahead and use this discussion thread because later down the road, it's going to be a lot easier to remember each of those steps along the way or any barriers that they came across if it's all right here versus if they have to think back to what happened and they forget something, we don't want them to forget, so it's always a good idea to track it. So that's kind of the goal creation and updating piece. I want to show you just a couple of the integration things and then we'll look at goal settings and then we will open it up for Q&A. So here in the top right, this is where you're going to find the different options here for integrations. So in this case, if I want, since I'm the employee, I can request feedback and I could send this to my manager and and I could just say, looking for your feedback on this goal. What it's going to do is it's going to send this to that individual and prompt them to share feedback back with me. And you'll see that it attaches the goal here. So they don't have to go looking for the goal. They don't have to go to your page. They're able to see right there what the progress is and access all that information without having to go too far. Additionally, under these three dots, you'll see that there's also this option to add the goal to a meeting. So if you're about to have a meeting with your manager or somebody else in the organization and you want to discuss the goal, we can click add to meeting and it will bring that in as a discussion topic for that meeting. Now, if you are playing the role of a manager and you access your team members' goals, when we open this up, we're going to be able to see all of these options. So when it's your own goal, you can just request feedback, but when it's the goal of somebody else, you can share feedback directly, or you can also praise. So if they're doing a really good job on their goal and you want to share a public praise, you're able to do that directly from the goal as well. And you can also add it to a meeting. All right, let me pause us there because I know we're getting low on time. And what I'll do is just take you in to the goal settings really quick. And again, like I mentioned before, in case you just popped in, this is recorded and we'll send it out, but we do also have some resources that we'll send your way that go through each of these things step by step. And of course, you can always reach out to your account manager as well if you have any questions, and they can always bring in your solutions consultant or answer the question themselves. So I'm here in settings and I'm going to go to goals. And these are all of the configurations that we're looking at. So a lot of these haven't changed, so we won't spend too much time on them, but one of the big ones is the default goal visibility. You'll notice that reporting hierarchy is always going to remain there, so this isn't something that we can disable, as the person's manager and above should be able to see the goal and their progress over time. However, what you can change is who else has visibility. So for some organizations that have a very high level of transparency, they might say the reporting hierarchy and everyone else in the organization should have visibility into all goals. Or they could just say, your department should have visibility into your goals. By setting this, this is going to change it so that when they add the goal, that visibility will already be updated. However, right below that, you'll see that there is this option to enable users to edit the goal visibility. So if this is checked, then what I can do is say, actually, I don't want my department to be able to see this goal, and I can take that off of the default. If it is not checked, then my reporting hierarchy and my department would be able to see my goal, and there isn't any way for me as the user to remove that. So those are kind of the additions there. Moving below these are all the same as before. And the only other one that is new here is to allow a combination of key results and goals under a parent goal. This is new because in Goals 2.0, before you could only align goals to top level goals. Now, if this is enabled, you can actually align a goal to another individual's goal. So somebody could be the top goal and others aligned below that. And in addition to that, their own key results would be aligned below that. So this just allows the system to have both types of things aligned below it. One other thing, if you do want to do the SFTP import, this is for the integration between goals and SFTP in case you have them in another system. Definitely reach out to your account manager, but you do have the ability in here to set that up. here under SFTP configuration, but you can also get support from your team if this is something that you're interested in. All right, let me pause here and let's see if we have any questions. And I'll invite you to either put it in the chat or if you want to come off mute, raise your hand, any of those things that are going to work for you. And I'm happy to take us through that. And also, Pooja, I will invite you if there's anything that you think I missed, let me know, and I'm happy to go over that as well.
Good from my end.
Cool. Let me stop sharing here for just a second so I can see who's here. Hi, friends. What what questions do we have, or thoughts or concerns, anything? Yeah, good question. Pooja, I'm going to lean on you for that. So, do you happen to know when the ability to assign to multiple people is coming out? I believe it's at the end of this quarter, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, I heard it as end of this quarter too,
Okay.
but we'll let you know for sure.
Yeah. So Michelle probably ended this month, and but we'll make sure to get that answer and probably include that when we send out the recording. I know a lot of people are looking forward to that feature coming back, including myself. So I'm very excited for that to come back. Okay, I'll give us just a couple more minutes here in case there's any questions, but then if not, then we may close out a little bit early. Is there anything that anyone would like me to go over again? Oh, let's see. This looks great. Date range. Yes, you are welcome. I will let the development team know. Oh, good question. So how do we prevent people from aligning goals incorrectly? Are there any guardrails? So there are not any system guardrails set up. The reason is that we like to have a lot of flexibility for how people can align goals since we are trying to meet the needs of a number of different organizations as a SaaS product. So there isn't anything built in. However, some things that I've seen other clients do is some of them will do an audit of all of the alignment and just see if there's anything out there that looks wonky and then ask them to fix it. But most frequently, I see the aligning as something that individuals do with their manager. So when they're sitting down to review those goals, the manager is acting as the guardrail there to say, this isn't actually relevant to this goal. We need to move it over to this one. Um, but those are the two biggest strategies that I've seen for that. Any other questions?
Hey, I'm just gonna go off mute. It's easier than typing.
Yeah. Yeah.
The public praise,
Hmm.
where does that show up on I'm sorry, the board,
Yeah, great question.
distribution board?
Yeah, so it'll show up on the praise wall here in feedback. And if you have the social feed enabled, which it doesn't look like I do on my test. Oh, nope, I do. Sorry, I was just an admin. It'll also show up here on the social feed. So other people can interact with it. It operates a lot like a Facebook timeline, so people can like it and add comments to it as well. And also, yeah, to anyone else, if you don't want to type it, feel free to come off mute. I'm happy to answer anything in here. Okay. Then I think what we'll do is we will wind this down. It is recorded. We are going to send it out. I would encourage you, if you have any questions come up, please feel free to send them to your account manager or your solutions consultant or both of us. We're happy to step in and help in any way that we can. And if you saw a feature but you just want a little bit more detail, we can do that as well. But we really want to say thank you so much for coming to this morning. And hopefully, you guys are ready to make the move soon and you'll be able to use it in your own platform. Oh, Tracy, I saw one more question.
Sorry, one more question. Is there
That's
any
okay.
collateral that you guys are sending out that will allow us to communicate this properly to our staff?
Yeah, great question. So we do have a lot of resources for how to do it. And Pooja and I will talk with our team about putting something out, maybe that's closer to like the why we're changing, so that you guys can send that out as well. Awesome. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. Take care.